So, as we were talking about with blended families earlier this week, we were talking about the fact that they're often more complicated than people think they should be. One of the main reasons that they can often be complicated is because of the naming of fiduciaries. So, fiduciaries is kind of a crazy word. What am I exactly talking about? I'm talking about your executor, your trustee, your power of attorneys, your healthcare power of attorneys. These are fiduciaries. These are the people that you trust above anybody else to make sure that your wishes are fulfilled if you're either incapacitated or after you pass away. Now, with your fiduciaries and with blended families, a lot of the time people ask me, oh, well, can we name her daughter and my son as co-trustees? And I'm almost always going to really push you away from naming co-trustees, even in a non-blended family. Even if it's just two of your kids and it's siblings, we all know siblings fight. Step siblings definitely fight. And if you name co-trustees, they literally have to agree on everything. And that is just typically not going to be the best way forward because people butt heads, people don't agree about everything. And you really just need that one decision maker that can just step in and get it done. Now, in the event that you and your spouse don't agree upon which of your kids would be the best role for this, or if you just really don't have a kid that you trust that much, then there are other options. There are professional trustees, and sometimes it's worth it, and it just makes so much sense. In this area, Athens, Georgia, Watkinsville, Georgia in general, there are lots of options for professional trustees that you can name. So number one, any of my clients can name my law firm as a professional trustee. We already have that relationship with you. We obviously know the documents very well, and maybe that's a good fit, but that's not my retirement plan. So I don't force or push that on my clients at all. It does require a yearly membership so that we can stay on top of your plan and make sure everything's where it needs to be. And for some people, that's just not what they're looking for. So there are lots of other options. There are local banks in town that have really good trust departments like First American or Synovus, soon to be Pinnacle, I believe. So those are banks. But oftentimes, if my clients don't have relationships with those banks, then maybe that doesn't fit the bill either. So then there are actually standalone trust departments that we like as well. Now, if you have a financial advisor through Merrill Lynch, Edward Jones, Raymond James, they do have trust departments. However, it's sometimes hard to use their trust departments because they have pretty high minimums on their trust. So they're only going to manage your estate if it is actually worth more than $1 million or whatever their threshold is. So sometimes that's out of reach because a lot of people, they may have $1 million now, but after they go through long-term care and everything like that, there's not really a guarantee that they're going to have $1 million after they pass away. So these independent, smaller trust companies, standalone trust companies may be a really good fit for people. And again, this isn't only for blended families. This may make sense for a lot of people that you just don't want to burden your kids, or you just don't 100% trust them to fulfill your wishes without being a little self-serving. With a revocable living trust, obviously the huge benefit of it is that it avoids court. But what that also means is that with a revocable living trust, there's not a judge, oversight on this situation. So the trustee, we really do need to trust them. It's in the name. So we want to make sure that whoever we're naming as trustee is someone we really trust. Now, what about fees? So in Georgia, your trustee, no matter whether it's your child, a friend, a sibling, or a professional, can obviously be paid for this service. It is basically a job, and it's a little bit of a pain in the rear end. So we do want to make sure that they can be compensated for this. The Georgia statute has a sliding scale. So it's either like 1.15, 1%, 8.85. It depends on how many assets you have. So it's a sliding scale. With a professional trustee, they have their own fee schedule. So they will let you know in advance what their fee schedule would be. And those fees do not set in until after you've passed away. For some people, it may be so well worth it, especially if you just have the type of kids that are not proactive, that are not organized, and just don't want to deal with it, or if you think they're going to butt heads. So especially if you have a blended family, no, I do not recommend naming her kid and your kid together. I recommend either just naming one or going with a professional as a way to avoid that conflict or potential conflict down the road or butting of heads down the road.